Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, or evening, or whenever you're watching this. Today I'm going to be checking in on Walmart, specifically former Walmart associates. I usually speak from the perspective of Walmart employees that were fired from their job. I was fired from my job because Walmart kept changing my schedule without telling me, and because of this, I ended up no-call no-showing too many days. I've done videos going over why other people have been fired from their job at Walmart, as well as the story leading up to their termination. I've also told my little sob story, and I documented the fallout as it happened. Today, though, is going to be just slightly different. I'm going to be looking into why former Walmart employees quit their jobs. I actually reached a point where I almost did quit, and looking back, that's probably what I should have stuck with doing. I was working overnight stocking. It was the early morning of December 30th, 2021, right before the new year. The supervisors had been getting increasingly more difficult to put up with, and it was both disheartening and annoying the way they would just come up to me and talk to me in a condescending way, or just start getting all huffy about how I was doing my work, or hell, even stuff that other people had done or were doing to make my job harder. But I finally had enough when the maintenance supervisor came up to me, a stalker, and started yelling at me about how I had just left a pallet of cardboard by the baler, like he thought I was just leaving it there for him and his crew to deal with. As he was getting all up in my face about it, I was gathering more cardboard on my top stock cart, so that way I could have all of my cardboard and trash off the floor, so that way I could avoid being yelled at by my direct supervisor. I did intend on disposing of all of my cardboard and trash properly. I wasn't even being shitty about it either. I was cool about it, telling him, yes, I know, I'll go back and take care of it here in just a second. What pissed me off, though, was when he snapped back and says, "You hear me? You need to go do it now." At the time, I felt forced to take action. I went to the back with what I had and just started tossing shit in the baler, before getting the rest of my trash and disposing of it, before clocking out and leaving my company phone next to one of the computers in the computer lab, and I left for the night right as lunch was starting. I let my dad talk me out of quitting, and I called the staff manager to tell them what had happened, and she said she'd have the overnight coach talk to the maintenance supervisor and tell them not to treat me or the other stalkers so rudely. He didn't stop though, so I'm guessing they only told me that just to reel my ass back in, so that way they could get rid of me on their own terms, not even 2 months later. Looking back, I feel as though I still handled that situation far too fucking kindly. I should have told him to go fuck himself, clocked out right there and then, and smashed my phone on the floor so that way I knew I couldn't come back in. Jack, if you're watching this, I honestly laughed when I heard you broke your hip. Fuck you. There's no excuse for yelling at your employees. I don't give a fuck how stressed out you are. Anyway, now that I've retold my story of how I almost quit, let's look at stories of Walmart employees that actually did quit. We're going to the Walmart subreddit and to a post titled, "Why did you quit Walmart?" The OP reads, "I'm asking for my husband because they overwork him and now he's to the point of quitting because I barely get to spend any time with him, and he even gets called in when he's supposed to have the day off. His schedule gets changed on him and they never let him know, yet it says something different on the app. When he goes back to look at one of the posts on the wall, they don't match, and at times he ends up late or mixed up, and on top of that, they act as if they care. Still, at the same time, they want him on most days. He only gets 1 day or less off out of the whole week, so today is the breaking point for me. I told him he needs to quit because he is burned out and overworked, and on top of that, he has a learning disability, and I feel like they're using him because he's the only one who works hard in his department and position. On a side note, he works in the cart department, and this is in Canada, Ontario, Owen, Sound Store number 3067. I have a question for people who have worked for Walmart. Why did you end up leaving the job? What department and position were you in, and how long did you work before you'd had enough of Walmart's bullshit? This definitely sounds like a similar situation I was in. I can't say that I was working as many days. After all, Walmart usually never has anyone working full-time unless they're in management or some other position of authority, so I'm surprised your husband has that. That said, it seems your husband's work schedule is now upsetting his work-life balance, which is just as bad as not getting enough hours. But the fact that Walmart is just changing his schedule without telling him is a serious red flag. I speak from experience when I tell you they are trying to get rid of him. Urge him, tell him to get out immediately. Soon they will start looking for small, insignificant reasons to fire him, and then after that they're just going to make up some bullshit and fire him for something he didn't even do. I'm not entirely certain on what Canada's labor laws are like, so I don't know if they have at-will employment there, but if they do, they could literally just fire him for being disabled or for any other discriminatory reason and just say at will. It would be best if your husband just left Walmart and didn't give any sort of notice or tell anyone that he's quitting. Walmart clearly wants him gone, so there's no point in him continuing his employment, but do not let Walmart have the last laugh. Best of luck to your husband in his search for a new job. A comment from a different post reads, "There's only so much bullshit you can try to shovel by yourself before you start to drown in it. Awful management that purposely obfuscates policy so they can bend it however they want to screw you. Lazy coworkers that slow you down and get you blamed because your department wasn't perfect, continually losing the benefits we had years ago with no replacement incentives other than a random bonus that mysteriously can disappear at the last second. And the drama. Oh, sweet fucking Jesus, the drama. I've worked in a handful of places over the years, including factories and warehouses staffed with ex-cons, and not a single place comes close to the unprofessional high school drama of Walmart. Eventually, it piles up to the point where it all outweighs the fear of the unknown in finding new employment, and you throw up your hands and give up. Not because you're weak or not devoted, it's because you can't move the Walmart machine. It's a big shitball that's rolling downhill and picking up all the turds along the way. Sometimes it's best to just let it roll on by you instead of over you, and that sums it up pretty well, if I do say so myself. One way Walmart would always bend their own policy to fuck over their employees that me and my grandmother saw and were subject to quite often was, so you know how they're so aggressively against retaliation in their CBLs? Happened all the fucking time at my store. People at my local store had their hours cut, or their days switched around, or be thrown to a different department for shit as little as calling off. The harassment was a fucking nightmare. There would always be like 3 different supervisors on duty, and they would always hover over people, but they would pick and choose who they wanted to fuck with. Like, there was this one guy at the lawn and garden table during COVID that would just sleep at the table, with no one coming and telling him to get up and get to work. But when I was put there, I was to be zoning when no one was coming in. Fucking stupid. Why even put a table and chair there if we aren't supposed to sit? The harassment goes hand in hand with the drama. And yeah, it felt like fucking high school. It felt like the supervisors were the jocks and the rest of us pissants were the nerds. It's kind of bad when ex-convicts in factories are known to act better than Walmart supervisors. That's fucking sad. Sad but true. The final story we'll be looking at today reads, I was with the company for 8 years as an ASM. I left because I was tired of getting lied to by upper management, i.e. SM and market manager. I was fed up with playing politics and dealing with high school drama, common theme here, from grown adults. I was tired of my peers not willing to work as a team because they were too worried about covering their own asses. I was tired of just being told to figure it out instead of getting real direction or even some guidance or leadership. I left Walmart and took a team leader position with a smaller company, and I couldn't be any happier now. I have every other weekend off, they close for Thanksgiving, and during all this craziness, I am even getting hazard pay. This was during COVID. My stress levels are minimal, and I get to spend a lot more time with my family. The biggest problem I see now that I am on the outside looking in is how poorly all the associates are treated, and how if they just treated the associates with even some compassion, it truly could be a really good company to work for. It's always good to see voices of reason coming from above. Being lied to by upper management. My issue was with the staff manager. I'm not sure where staff managers are on the totem pole, whether they're above or below ASMs, but the staff manager at my store was a constant liar. I don't think there was a single truthful thing she told me while I was working there. Not to mention how she and the other upper management lied about me when I applied for unemployment, talking about how I was such a horrible employee, and how they accused me of misconducting myself on several occasions. They were never specific beyond the no-call no-shows that they knew they were springing on me, as well as how I was constantly absent and tardy in their words. The tardy thing is what really pissed me off at the end of that bullshit, because there was a time that they had to tell me to stop coming in so early. I was late so few times throughout the 7.5 months that I worked there that I could count them on my fingers, and never once was I more than 10 minutes late. Anyway, yeah, high school style drama, people not working as a team because they're more worried about personal gain than collective effort. It does not surprise me one bit that the managers that actually try their best to lead and do good by their employees are forced to do guesswork and act without direction, and are often misguided by their superiors. I appreciate your efforts in trying to make sure your employees were happy at their jobs, even though the cards were stacked against you. I'm glad that you're happy at your new job, and that your life is much less stressful, and the work isn't as terrible as Walmart. If you ask me, I think that every last employee should follow suit and leave the company. As much as we can hope that Walmart will just one day improve, it's never going to. Walmart has made it to where even attempts at unionization mean nothing. If you're an individual trying to get your coworkers to support unionization, make sure you quit first, because Walmart will fire you immediately if they even suspect you of trying to organize. They freak out over people jokingly complaining about no popsicles during the summer months. If you're unionizing just your own individual store, you may as well forget it, because Walmart will close you guys down. If your store is unionizing in tandem with several different stores, be prepared for Walmart to use every tool at their disposal to fight back, including hiring Lockheed Martin and even the FBI to perform recon. The only way to see unionization succeed with Walmart is to do so on a company-wide scale. No, not a nationwide scale, because they already pulled out of Germany because of that. Company-wide. That means every single store across the entire world. The only way forward with unionizing Walmart is a full-blown war between labor unions and the mega corporation. The only way around this is Walmart going out of business, and one way to make that happen that the working class can accomplish right now is by everyone quitting their jobs and for everyone to stop shopping there completely, and never working for or shopping at another Walton-owned company ever again. Don't work for them, and if you can help it, don't spend your money with them. And that is where I'm going to sign off on this video. Have you ever worked for Walmart? If so, did you quit your job? Please tell me about it. Please also tell me if you got fired from them. Hell, feel free to tell me about any story you have from working anywhere. Please click thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and share it with your coworkers, and please subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this, as there will be more, and click the bell to get notified when I upload. Thank you for watching. watching, and I'll be back soon with another video. Bye, guys.